Carmel Sepuloni.
Mr Chair, I'm particularly interested in the section of the bill that extends this, the Housing Accords and Special Housing Areas Act, from what was supposed to be September the 19th, was it? 15th or 16th? September the 16th, 2016 to September the 16th, 2019. I guess my real concern is how did the Minister allow it to get to this point? So 10 days out from this particular part expiring, and here we are in urgency, actually having a debate about this and trying to push it through quickly, because obviously we've had 3 years to think about this, and we've had 3 years to see whether the short-term measure was going to be effective. And I mean, when we look at the regulatory impact statement, it does say it was supposed to be a short-term measure to streamline and fast-track housing development and associated infrastructure through the Resource Management Act. And obviously we are at the point, well, we've known for a lot longer than the last week that that short-term measure wasn't going to be enough, and it was going to need to be extended. So I really want to know from the Minister, what was the delay? What was the delay in making the decision to bring this to the House to extend this? There are problems that have been highlighted in the regulatory impact statement in relation to this. Problems with regards to what had been hoped to be achieved that hasn't been achieved, and it's spelled out really clearly here. It does say that the principal issue discussed in the regulatory impact statement is whether to amend the Housing Accords and Special Housing Act's timeframe to allow further special housing areas to be established and to create new provisions in the Housing Accords and Special Housing Areas Act for a 12-month time limit to lodge consents within the special housing areas and ministerial discretion to extend this time limit. It basically says that there's still consents waiting that need to be put through, and I guess the Minister must have known that they weren't going to be completed already by September the 16th, 2016. So yeah, really, why the delay? I also want to point out that it's not the just recently. It's not something that's recently come to light. It actually has been for the last few months. At least there's been an ongoing discussion about this. And I just want to refer to an article in the newspaper. Thank you. I want to refer to an article in the newspaper where actually one of our mayoral candidates, Phil Goff, pointed out that, who has a strong likelihood of winning the mayoralty, we think, but who pointed out that this transition was going to be a problem, and he expressed his concerns that the Minister had done nothing to deal with this transition. The actual headline is "Legal Stuff Up Could Hamper Plans to Build 15,000 New Homes in Special Housing Areas." So he highlighted that on the 25th of May, and so at that time, Mr Nick Smith is reported in this article as saying that he was open-minded about legislation to effectively extend the special housing area legislation, but would not make a decision until it had seen the plan recommended by the hearings panel and the Council's response. So I'd like to know from the Minister, Nick Smith, whether or not that is what delayed him. Did he just see the plan yesterday or last week, and hence why he's had to bring this to the House only 10 days out from when it was due to expire, and why we couldn't give it the public scrutiny and the due process that it deserves? Is that why we've delayed to this extent? And I just want to know, yeah, really, what are the housing, what other special housing area projects are on the cards that they had anticipated would get through by the 16th of September date that haven't actually made it to that mark, and so that we're fully aware of the reasons why we do need to extend this for 3 years. And I guess we do accept, despite the fact that what the government has done here has been underwhelming and hasn't achieved anywhere near the extent to which we needed it to, what we needed it to achieve in terms of actually addressing the housing crisis. It has done something, even if it's just a little bit. So for that reason, we want to support that actual part of the bill. The second part, obviously, we won't go into now, but we don't support at all. So I just want to know from Mr Smith, what has been the delay and why are we here 10 days out from when this expires? Why are we here in urgency? Why wasn't this brought to the House sooner? Why couldn't we have had a more robust, formal discussion about this?
Mr. Chairman.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.